Hello, happy Wednesday, and welcome to the Connectors Pulse. I am your host, Christine Lavopa. Wow, this has been a whirlwind of a month. I can't believe this is our second to last show. It's been incredible. I start off every show saying I get the privilege to really hype women up. And I think that we need that. We need that community. We need to come together. And this is like men included. This is not just women on women. This is whole community aspect and cohesiveness. I love it. And we have the perfect guest for that today. We were backstage talking and it was immediate connection. And I can't wait to introduce her. Her name is Victoria Nielsen. She is an embodiment coach, an intuitive guide, a retreat host, a mother, a wife. She's all the things. And I want to bring her on right now. Hello, Victoria. Thank you so much for coming. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. What an introduction, Christine. Thank you. It's my pleasure. I love that I get to just talk for a living. It's really fun. But more than that,
Right? I mean,
you
I think
know,
that's like such a totally. So what would you say what would you say you do the most like the best or have the most connection with?
yeah. So I, after becoming a mother, really went on a journey of deep self-discovery. I had always wanted to climb the corporate ladder and thought that I would be kind of chasing that ever elusive gold star, right? And I was reborn when I birthed children. And through that portal, I realized how much I wanted to support other women through all the transitions of their life. Because as women, there's always something birthing and dying within us. And when we follow that natural cycle and get into that natural rhythm, life becomes a lot easier. And I have found that leaning into my feminine power, my feminine embodiment has, you know, trickled into every aspect of my life so beautifully. And I have learned so many tools, practical and spiritual, along the way that I love sharing with women so that they can step into their power and into their truth, and so that they can really be who they are meant to be and who their soul kind of signed up for. Because so many of us, we can get caught up in the rat race, right? We can get caught up in the hustle of everyday life. And it's really the slowing down that allows us to be present in our bodies and be present with ourselves. And as women and men in today's society, I think that is something we could all use more of. We could all use more grounding and being with whatever is arising within us. So, we're chatting today a little bit about loving and living in your life in a way that is in alignment and is in ease, because life is meant to be easeful. And there are ways that you can tune into your own inner wisdom that's going to guide you on that next step in your path, on that next step in your life. But the first step in cultivating a life that you love and that you don't want to escape from is really stopping the numbing of yourself and really
Mhm.
becoming present with what's happening around you. And unfortunately, it was a miscarriage for me that showed me that. Part of my healing in that journey, I very consciously chose not to numb out, not to, seek substances or things like that. And that's when I really started to cultivate this inner voice within myself and start to see that, I can get through anything when I turn inward and when I check in with myself. So yeah, that's been the journey. And what I love helping women with is kind of figuring out what are some of those old wounds and old patterns, and can you notice those behaviors that are just keeping you in the same kind of cycle of suffering, and can we have just a little bit of an energetic shift that's going to get you moving in a spiral upward instead.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Well, thank you for sharing that vulnerability. I know having a miscarriage is, I mean, personally, I've never gone through it, but being as a mom, I can't imagine that how hurt that felt and confusing, and you're just like go into the pattern of why is this happening to me, and then later on you're like, why is this happening for me? But in the moment, you're like, whoa. This is a lot. So thank you for sharing that because I think we need to hear more of that. And sometimes through the breakdown, there is a breakthrough.
Oh, absolutely. I truly believe that we are here to learn and to grow and to expand. And that friction of life we're meant to experience it. And I know we all want to run from our pain, right? It's
Mhm.
comfortable when you're in it. But sitting in that uncomfortableness, I call it the fertile void with my clients, because
Mhm.
truly anything is possible from that energy when you just let yourself kind of melt into a puddle of surrender almost and say like, okay, like show me the way. And I believe you will be shown if you're listening.
I love that you brought up the word surrender because I called this 2025 my surrender season. And we were talking about being in your masculine energy backstage and feminine energy. And I know we'll get to that. But this was like the first time in a long time I surrendered the white flag, so to speak. And you become so guarded to have this masculine energy. No one's going to hurt me. No one will see the chinks in my armor. And you have this like image of like you have to be bad and strong and don't let anybody in. But at the same time, it's this complete isolation at the same time.
Yeah.
Right. And then you have to let that energy in at some point and you surrender it. Now, if you surrender to that higher self, I believe in, God and Christianity, but whatever religion you believe in, having that faith is a superpower. I
Yeah.
can't even explain it. It's just invisible, but it's there to protect you. It holds you. It loves you when you're feeling at your worst. So I can personally say that that's been a journey for me as well. And we were talking also backstage, like living in both energies. And I was saying, sharing with you, I'm a military spouse. Like there are sometimes I don't have a choice but to live in both energies. I
Yeah.
have
You have to be a
children.
single mom essentially.
Yeah, and then when our spouse comes home, we have to do the reintegration, like the hello, how are you again, right? But also, so much has changed since you've been away. But hey, catch up because I don't have time to teach you. Like, and
I want you to already know that we have to do, things different with the
right,
kids, that this is
right.
happening.
Simon says do this, and you better do it the first time. So it's yeah, and it's a lot also when you have two type A people coming together, finding that communication and common ground cannot it's not always easy.
Yeah.
I tell people my whole family is type A. Like there's no chill mode in our house, a lot of empathy, but no chill mode. So we try. We're working on
Right?
it. We're
But
working.
yeah,
I
you could
mean,
you could
maybe this is
harness
why you
it.
could teach us grounding,
Yes,
right? So
exactly. Because you can be the calm in the storm. And I think it's great though to talk about that masculine and feminine energy, because all of us carry it, right? And it's
Mhm.
meant to be in balance. And for women especially, we are so sensitive. And when we swing too much one way or the other, our family feels it. Everyone around us feels it because our energy is connected. But it's important to know that it's an energy that you can work with, right? And it's no one's fault. It's just how you learn to integrate that within yourself. And I've done a lot of softening this last year. I quit my corporate job officially in June, and I'm doing the speaking and retreat host and all of that full
Wow,
time.
that is a big deal. I'm
Yeah,
proud of
it
you.
was
Wow.
a long time coming. I mean, probably a 3-ish year, not even really planned. I just let the breadcrumbs come one step at a time until finally it was like, okay, this is the answer. I have to be done. And
Hmm.
it that faith, right, is something that I had to have. And I think it's important in your life to learn to cultivate that faith in yourself, because then you're not ever going to take those leaps of faith and you're not ever going to advocate for yourself or, really, I think, step into who you're meant to be in this lifetime. And the more that we can see that all of our relationships around us are just mirrors for our own energy, I think the more we can have empathy and compassion for everyone around us. And then we can maybe start to see, right, where we can settle and we don't need to always be so like, all the time.
I mean, reactive, right? I always say
Yes.
we live in a reactive society, right? And I think health and wellness is something that should be proactive, right? When you're reactive in your health, that's not a good thing because you're coming out of the hole instead of building that foundation when something does hit the fan, so to speak, right?
Absolutely.
So I always say, like, I'm dipping into my health savings account every day. It is a
Yes.
high yield savings account. Muscle is a luxury brand. I'm working for my 90-year-old self,
I love
right? Oh,
that.
yeah. Muscle is a luxury brand. It's expensive to build, which is
Yep.
calories and time, expensive to maintain, which is calories and time, and it's long lasting, high quality material. You are a luxury brand, invest in yourself. Porsche
Yes.
wasn't made in a day.
Yes. And I remember the first time I invested in myself in a big way, and it was so scary. It was so scary to say. I'm going to put four figures towards this dream I have, or this thing
Oh
that I
yeah.
want, or
Yep.
whatever it was. But anyone listening, I want you to know that you're worthy of that. And that doesn't mean you have to spend money to make your dreams happen. But I do think at some point you have to kind of, like, it's where the rubber meets the road, right? And the universe is a
Yes.
little bit like, okay, well, then show me that you want this. And,
Yeah.
whether you're putting that up with your actions or your dollars, I think you got to have some type of action, because the universe can only meet you where you meet yourself.
Yeah, and so I'm love that you brought that up. So I'll share something with you. This year has been a total big, huge investment of time and energy and monetary involvement. Um, in 3 days on Saturday, I'm going to be doing my first TEDx, and I know
I did my first one in August.
oh yes, I saw that. How was it?
It was, when you get on that stage, Christine, like, you're just literally going to be like, I was made for this.
Where
Like,
was it? Where was
this,
it?
in my hometown of Key West, Florida. So that was even more special that I got to do it, like,
I wonder
with
if
my.
Erica was there. No, she was in Boca Raton. She was a
Oh,
client of mine, and she's done two. And she was like, "You have to tell your story. You have to." And I'm like, "No, I'm not really that interesting." And she's just like, "You have to tell your story and the journey." Anyway, so it's been crazy. It's been a build up, yeah.
I'm
And
so excited for you.
so it's
It's gonna
it's
be a
kind of like
portal.
one of
You're
those,
literally like stepping through a portal that day on that stage. I hope you envision that you're just like
yeah,
walking through new golden doors,
yeah.
and you get to leave whatever you want behind. Truly.
And the plan totally crumbled 2 days ago because my family is supposed to come with me, and because of extreme circumstances that I cannot control, I have to go alone. And I'm kind of like sitting with that right now, but also like praying on it, like, okay, like, why? It is what it is. I can't change the outcome. Why am I doing this alone? And then I'm just have to surrender. Like, I have a gift to give people, and I'm gonna give it no matter what. And if I'm alone, that's okay. But here
What
we
a
are, right?
pilgrimage. If you don't mind, it feels like, I don't know, I'm kind of giving you a reading right now, if you don't
Yeah,
mind. But like, it feels like
yeah.
it's meant to be a pilgrimage. And it's meant to be actually a little bit of freedom for you to maybe finally get to choose things for yourself, do things a little differently. And for you to know that you supporting yourself is the number one thing, because they always support you whether they're physically there or not. But
Yeah,
I
there. I
almost
mean,
feel like
there.
it's gonna be a
Yeah,
journey of you supporting yourself along the way and learning that you can, and that you
right,
have.
right. And I've been sitting, like, it happened so
It doesn't mean it's
quickly,
gonna be
and I'm
easy,
just
but
right. And I was like, well, okay, if this is what it is, this is what it is. But like, I've done. This will be my first time sharing my journey out there, and the first time really. I've always had a fear of public speaking, so this is like way to rip the Band-Aid off. Go big or go home. Just do a TEDx. Um,
is it a smaller one? Like, is it 100 people or is it bigger?
oh no, so that it's an all-female event, 12 speakers.
That's awesome. No, but the audience size. So depending on, I know I learned a lot about the TEDx licenses, but
Yeah, yeah.
so it may be a smaller audience. You might not know. I mean, that's
I
still
think
100 people,
it's
but
yeah, I know, right? It's going to be in Swansea, UK. So so I think it's actually I don't know. That's a good question. I think it's going to be like a pretty okay size, decent size, choose to
hey, I
say,
mean,
but
whatever size it is, it's beautiful and it'll be perfect.
yeah, and I think the fact of like just facing that fear, and just kind of ripping that band-aid off, and like knowing that this has led you up to this moment. It's kind of like, and I'm listening to like Lose Yourself by Eminem. I'm like, my palms are sweaty, mom spaghetti. And I'm like, don't throw up. I have a white dress on. Like,
I love
anyway,
that
in my
so
head, I'm
much.
like envisioning this, and I'm just like, you got one chance, you could do this,
Yeah, you got one shot.
Exactly,
Yes,
exactly.
yes.
Yeah. So I'm
You gotta
listening.
be
I'm
your own hype
also
woman. Like, that's exactly what's happening.
yeah, like K-pop Demon Hunters. My daughter loves K-pop eating. If you
Golden is like
haven't,
fave.
Golden, and also This Is What It Sounds Like. I was like listening, and I'm like, finally the jagged edges are meeting the light. That's literally what this whole speech is about. And how
Hmm.
you can like rebuild no matter how many times you get knocked down. Like the person you see here had many lives before.
Yeah.
this moment, you know. And by the way,
Mhm.
the getting knocked down were chapters. That's not the vision of the whole thing. It's about creating that foundation, your methodology to get back up. And you don't start with 2-hour workouts, you don't start with your perfect meal plan, you start with 1 minute a day,
Yes.
1%. And you keep adding and adding, and guess what, you are going to be a brick house that no one can knock down.
Yep.
And that's how you just keep building on top of
Yeah,
that.
because
So
everyone wants that quick fix. They want the like, what's the magic pill? I'm sorry, guys, there is no magic pill. It's built
you
brick
can't
by brick.
Amazon Prime muscle or
No,
stress reduction.
it's built day by day. It's built choice by choice, truly. And I love that because you always have the chance to choose again. Because I don't really believe that people make mistakes. I think there's no wrong path, right? Like mistakes, yes, if you've harmed someone else, but mistakes in the
Yeah.
sense that like you're learning something deeply about maybe yourself or about the world. And I think again, that's part of who we are and what we're here for. But that little by little gives you permission to not be perfect. It gives you permission to be human, to say, I'm going to take 2 steps forward and 1 step back. It's natural. And
Yeah.
I think going into it, knowing that it's not going to be linear, it's not going to be a straight line, and giving yourself that permission to be human as you heal yourself or as you move through whatever, like has to be the first step. Because gosh, I don't know about you, but I was a like big people pleaser growing up,
Oh,
and getting over
people
that.
pleasing perfectionists. Say that 10 times fast.
And so then we're hardest on
Literally.
ourselves. We judge
Oh, yeah.
ourselves harder than
The inner
anyone else.
critic. I
Absolutely.
named her Samantha. She's a biatch.
You know
Yeah.
what I love to do though? I tell my clients this. So your female cycle also mirrors like the natural cycle of the outside world. So when you are in your luteal phase, that very like PMSy phase,
Mhm.
that's your inner autumn. That's your time when things are actually like falling off. You are shedding your layers like an onion. And I love
Yep.
to do something called inner critic higher self journaling, where I'll take a
Ooh.
page, just do
Yeah.
like a line down the center. Let your inner critic have let her biatch come out. Let her say what she wants to say. Because
Hmm.
I do think there is something valid in letting her express herself, right? Like, you
Hmm.
don't want to shut down any part of yourself. So let her have her say, but then take a second, get into your body, maybe take a couple of deep breaths, and then let that like true higher self come through. I almost tell people just to free write, like just let your hands start moving. Don't think about it, just let it go. And then read what they say to each other. And you will find that the inner critic is very mean, but when you can tap into that higher self, she's going to receive you with love. And she's going to honestly demolish a lot of the stuff that the inner critic is saying. And how beautiful that you can
Hmm.
like hold yourself in that way, especially during a time when I think men and society say like, you're PMSing, you're being biatchy, you're being crazy. Like, okay, well, now I have a tool to maybe help channel some of that rage that I think is very natural, but has been
Hmm.
mislabeled in society, into something that, is a bit more productive.
So many things here, and I know we haven't even gotten to our first topic, but I think we're just covering a lot. So,
Right.
okay, one thing that really pops off. So, I did a study with a doctor of physical therapy. He worked with D1 athletes, right? And in this, I studied cycle syncing. So, when we are have our cycle, we are taught from a very young age it is disgusting, we should hate ourselves, we are bloated, we are fat, all the things, all the negative things,
Yep.
instead of thinking of it as a blueprint for life, right? So 3 days, the late luteal phase before before you actually menstruate, right? 80% of these injuries in these D1 athletes happened in those 3 days.
I bet
Why? Because of what you just said. The shedding, your hormone shift is so high that your immune system gets lower. Like
Yep.
it's This is science. This is not woo woo. I mean, it's woo woo and science, which is great,
Yeah. But no, but
but
I like it's a physical thing. Just like, when you become a mother, your DNA literally changes. And people,
changes.
say I'm like, no, it's a true cellular thing that actually happens. And we're not
Yeah.
taught that. We're not taught then to slow down during that phase. We have to keep the same pace.
And we
And
learn in our 40s after we hit perimenopause and menopause, and everything's downhill after you hit 40. I'm like, I'm 44. I'm in the best chapter of my life so
right?
far. So,
I do not subscribe to that narrative. I'm like,
right?
no. No, thank you. Like I'm actually same 36 best shape I've ever been in, I feel like. And
I'm not
mentally,
buying those
physically,
tickets.
spiritually, like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna believe those stories anymore.
And that's the thing. It's like same like so when you believe in that, like you believe in faith and you put that energy towards that, then your body's going to your body always hears what your mind is saying, right? So if you're telling yourself that, that will happen, right? Yes, there are extreme circumstances. You have to after in our 40s, our hormones do shift, but also why aren't we like looking at our HPA access, like our stress level of so many years. I'm not saying stress is bad. We need stress in our life. We need to be resilient, that bounce back. I'm talking about chronic distress, years of putting your body through the fire. That's when things kind of don't respond. So if you think of your adrenals at like sponges, imagine cleaning a top of a counter with a fully wet sponge. It's not taking anything in.
No.
You're just moving the shit around,
Yeah.
right? So how are you supposed to like clean your body, reset if your adrenals are taxed and then your thyroid gets taxed and then your sex hormones gets taxed and we think about it's just this, but meanwhile we haven't even looked at our HPA axis, right?
No,
Or
it's all connected. And the
all
crazy thing
connected.
too of like the connection and the energetics, you talking about the adrenal fatigue. I just found out my 5-year-old has adrenal
Mm.
fatigue. He's
Wow.
5. And we are not overscheduled. Like I am not that parent because that's the kid that I was, and
Right.
like
Yeah.
I feel like it's like we're a very normal family. He's 5. And I know part of that is energetics with me, like
Hmm.
I was working 9 to 5, building my side hustle of a business, mom to 2 small
Hmm.
boys. I was getting really tired. I was really burnt out. Part of my also wanting to leave the corporate world was like to actually be present for my children. And I've noticed that I've slowed down a lot and it feels very weird because I feel like I should still be producing at that same pace. And I'm like, I have less
Hmm.
to do, but I feel like I'm doing less. And I've decided to rewrite that story that actually that's okay. And that maybe this is the pace that we're supposed to be at if my energy can be felt in like the burnout of my child. So, we thankfully I've got, we're doing protocols to help him and things like that. But like
God.
if it's happening to him, imagine our older bodies that have been through so much more,
I'm wondering, this could be a total like off the cuff like guess. Is he like an empath?
So he is so sensitive emotionally. And he very much
Yeah.
so like we also found he has leaky gut and some other stuff that's like happening that's causing
Okay.
like brain inflammation essentially.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yes, when my second son was born, my oldest broke out with an eczema rash behind
Hmm.
his knees for 6 months and then it went away. And he did not like having a little brother at all. Now they've gotten much better, but
It's like
I think
if we're
they
gonna
have
share
some
space,
karma.
bro, let's come
Yeah.
to a agreement. Like,
But I think they have some karma, like, that they have to work out together, Like,
what's
it's
really interesting? My daughter's eczema cleared up, but my son's hasn't, and he's like very, very sensitive and very, very hard on himself, like the first child. And also when he was growing up, like the first 3 years of his life, because of the military, I mean it was back to back deployments, so like we were on our own for a lot. So I'm thinking that my energy transferred to him, even though like we're doing the best we can.
of
But
course.
like it was definitely one of those things where he would mirror my anxiety. Like we have a special intuitive connection. And like yesterday I like left the house because I was just like, I need to go on a walk. And he's like, but mom, I really want to walk with you because I think I can help you. And I was like, no, 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 mommy just really needs to be alone. And in that moment I should have just said yes, but I was like, I didn't want him to feel my anger because he mirrors me, but he
Yeah.
knew right away something was wrong. Yeah.
I They're so in tune and they're our biggest teachers. I truly like my oldest, we, have had some really big moments of clash and it's shown me like the behaviors that I've inherited from how I was raised, right? And again, it's no one's fault. My parents did the best they could with
Yep.
what they had at the time, but I come from a divorced family. My mom had a lot of anger. She had a lot of,
Mhm.
rage that did transfer to me and I carried for a long time. And it's been really beautiful on this healing journey to see how my own healing has rippled into her, has rippled into my grandmother, and is now
It's
rippling into my kids.
contagious.
It truly is, and
Yeah.
it can be a physical, tangible thing, but it can also be just an opening of questions. Of now, my mom wants to know more about like this generational healing. She wants to know more about like just like my grandmother asked me to read her oracle cards the last time I was
Oh,
home, and I was like, oh, okay, like
okay.
she's this little Cuban lady. Like I didn't think she was into that. Like she goes to church and
Hey,
whatever, but she was like, yeah, let's do it. Like I want to read your, and I was like, okay, cool.
wow. That
And
is
and I
really
think I
cool.
never talked to her about it. I never asked her. It just was like a thing that happened once I was very open about what I was doing and what I was moving through.
It's like I call that like the things in your head, like those blocks, like calcifications. So they're not like blocks can be chipped away, like if something's
Oh yeah.
calcified. So like when you feel that generation, it's really easy to wash, rinse, repeat. That cycle is very easy to get into. The pattern disruption, that's the stuff that creates the change. But then you're a salmon swimming upstream and you're going to come back down and then you're going to keep swimming, right? So the other day, I was just taking some content with my daughter and she was helping me plant a flower, right? And in my head, I was like, wow, how symbolic is that growth is not linear, right? And how symbolic is that I had to go through this generational cycle to break it so I could be a better person and mother for her so she can show up as her best self. And we never talk about body parts. We don't say we're skinny, we're fat, nothing. Every time I hear fat, chubby, I'm like, hey, we're going to reframe that word. We're going to talk as words can hurt. We're going to talk about how strong and capable we are. And in planting that tree, it was like we were leaving that for the legacy that was
Yeah,
bigger than ourselves. It was just a
absolutely.
cool moment, like just kind of.
No, but it's like, I mean, a beautiful metaphor for life. And then like
Yeah.
a physical metaphor of you guys planting new life together. And I
Yeah.
think that's all we can ever hope to do, is I think is just lead with love, right? And that we can be that change. But I love that you shared like the chiseling, because it isn't easy to be chiseling and swimming upstream and being that black horse or black sheep, for lack of a better term. But that's when you dig into that faith. That's when you dig into that higher purpose. And people talk about purpose a lot. And I have to find my purpose. I personally believe our purpose is just to be the biggest, fullest, brightest expression of ourselves in whatever capacity that is. Maybe
Hmm.
that means you are going to be like a successful CEO. Maybe that means you're going to be a mom that raises 5 beautiful kids that are going to go change the world. Like it doesn't matter what it is, but you are just so fully yourself. You couldn't be anybody else. And I feel like the more that people step into that, it's a permission slip for others, right? To say like, you don't have to be a certain way in the world. You don't have to, you can be yourself and still succeed. You can be yourself and still create beautiful change in the world.
Love
I
that.
really believe that, especially in times like this where it's so disheartening to think like as one person, can you make change? You can. Your healing is probably the most important thing you could do because of the ripple effects it will have around you.
And you don't want it to be this big cannonball that dissipates. You want it to be a slow ripple of water that keeps reaching other people because that's the effect that you want to have. It's not always easy to keep that steady ripple, but the big cannonball, the splash, like that just goes, right? It's a big thing like yes, and then what comes from that,
Well, then you're
right?
going
We
to have
have
a
to.
natural contraction, right?
Yeah.
I call it the jellyfish effect with my clients. When you have a big expansion, you're going to naturally contract. But how deep that contraction goes is up to you. If you
Right.
have a base, an energetic baseline that it feels solid, your nervous system feels good, you are doing what you can to support yourself, those highs and lows are going to feel less high and low, right? You're going to kind of be more, to your point, those gentle waves. That's
Mhm.
always the goal to me. The goal is not to like be a monk on a mountaintop and live in utter peace and harmony. Like that's not realistic, right?
Right, right, yeah, yeah.
But it's to be able to navigate the waves a little bit better, for yourself so that it isn't so.
And that's resilience, the bounce back.
Yes. And we need
Like
it as
we're
humans. You need it. Fear is
yes,
actually a beautiful thing. It tells you where your energetic edges are, you
and
know?
how adaptable you are. Like I always tell people, you want to be on an island with me because I will make sure we will survive and we will find a way.
Okay, good, because I'd be the first to die. We realized I'd be the first to die in a horror movie when this is such a non sequitur, but when the retreat I hosted in Mexico this year, we just kept hearing this weird noise, and I was the first one to be like, "What is it? Let's go see." And then I was like, "Cool, I'm the first one to die in this scream movie."
You are the weakest link.
Yeah. Goodbye.
Well, speaking of retreats, we're doing a retreat I told you about. It's retreat.revening.com. And I totally invited you backstage. So, I mean, I hope you could come. That would
Oh my
be
god, that would be
sweet.
I would love it. I'm hosting one in November in Tucson, so we'll see if I can, but we have one spot left. So anyone listening, if you would like to come to the Art of Unwinding in Tucson, Arizona, November 8th to the 11th, it's going to be just a really beautiful return to ourselves and to nature. And we're going to create a lot with our hands. We're going to create like
Ooh.
a hand-dyed altar scarf. We're going to do some creative writing. We're going to kind of cook a communal meal together. It's really about unwinding kind of all of the societal expectations, the energy, just to come back to play, to like frolic in the desert and hang out with a bunch of girls. And really, I'm just really excited because I think the energy is going to be really beautiful. It's a small group. I always intentionally like to host like 10 people or less in retreats so that it's really intimate.
Intimate. Yeah.
And two, I honestly believe anyone that's ever attracted to one of my retreats, like you have medicine for some of the other women attending also.
Mhm.
Like there's a reason that everyone came together, and I really believe that. So if you're feeling the call, as I say, Tucson, Arizona, Art of Unwinding,
That
please,
would be
please, please,
amazing.
like give me a shout out and come because
I
it
would
would be
totally go. I'm doing work. I'm going to be in a conference. I'm flying back from Spain also. So I'm flying to UK, back to there, Spain for 3 days, to Georgia, back for a week, going back to Charlotte. And it's going to be like 400 women. Yeah, and I'm leading two of the workshops there. I
guys.
can't wait. It's gonna be amazing. But I would totally go.
Oh
That
my
sounds
god.
sick. So ours too is basically like coming into nature. It's in the middle of nowhere. It's in Georgia. There's a lake, there are waterfalls, we're doing hiking, we're doing movement, I'm teaching people how to meal prep in under 5 minutes to nourish your body, find that stable blood sugar. And we're also doing like content creation. So it's going to be all of the things about just coming together, but also rising up and feeling, sometimes you might feel alone in this world culture because of maybe you're afraid to rise up, maybe you're afraid of judgment, maybe you're afraid that you can't do it, but knowing that there's calm in the pause, there's power in the pivot, and we can come together and do it together and make it more tangible, because when you have that camaraderie and that energy, it's unexplainable.
The
So,
support of other women transformed me. I mean, I don't know about you, but growing up, girls were catty. Girls were really catty.
mhm, girl, I know,
And I
I
preferred
know.
to hang out with guys because they weren't so catty. But I've healed a lot of that sister wound, over the last like 5 or 6 years doing all of this retreat and women's work because women are not our competition. Actually, when we collaborate, we shout each other out, like we get to rise higher together. And I have never experiencing like something as transformative as like being witnessed by another woman. Having another woman like look me in the eyes and be like, I see you. I honor
It's powerful.
you. Like that is so powerful. And that is something that I wish every single woman on the planet could experience because that will like if you don't believe in yourself, man, that'll make you believe in yourself real quick because women can lift each other up so high if we wanted to.
Yes, and we have to break that storyline, that generational curse, if you will, of telling that we have to step on other women to get where we have to go,
There's only one seat at the
or
table, so you better backstab her
right,
for
or
it.
that everybody's competition, and it's okay to be competitive, but are you being competitive against yourself, or are you being competitive at other people so you think that you can shine brighter, right? But we could all have a light, we could all shine together. And it took me, I mean, 44 years to get to that space, right? To like understand like, hey, we can do this, and we can do it well together. So we didn't even get to our topics. Like,
I
this is
know.
so
I'm sorry.
cool.
Like I love.
I'm
I'm
like,
like,
so
this
we
is
went,
great.
but we talked about them. All right, let's just see what the first topic was, because I'm pretty sure we talked about everything.
Right.
Building a life you love living.
Yeah.
Covered it. Check. All right. Next
Right.
one. What do we
Being
got?
intentional, being conscious, not numbing yourself, leading from the
Leading
nervous
from your
system. Yeah, we talked about that a little bit too. I think it's checking in with your body. Like your body is always talking to you. And you were
yes.
talking about kind of the dis-ease in the body that can occur when you're not listening to it. I really truly
Mhm.
believe that, when you are not listening to your body, when you are shoving down your emotions, it's going to show up. And I have seen differences in my body also energetically, like when I have released things or like, especially for being a woman, like in the midsection, I've noticed it
Mhm.
wasn't until I felt safe in my body and in my nervous system that I was actually able to lose weight, that the cortisol levels were low enough,
Dropping.
especially after having kids, right? Your body's kind of like all over the place anyway. Um,
Mhm.
but coming back to that homeostasis in my nervous system actually allowed me to like get into my body in a way that I never had before. And I think a lot of us live our lives up here, right? We're always in our heads and we're not in the body. And
Yep.
even if it's just 5 minutes a day, checking in with your body, maybe you put a song on and you dance around, but listen
Mhm.
to it, because when you lead from that nervous system, when you lead from that place, like you are going to rid yourself of the disease. You are going to rid yourself of the things that are not in alignment, because your body's going to be screaming at you that something has to change.
And I love that you brought up energy and emotions, because energy, I mean, emotions are energy in motion, right? And if you
Yes,
don't
I always say
release
that.
it, yeah, and if you don't release it, I just did a whole fitness workshop for the spouses on Bulkley. So I was like, I feel like I love the gift of giving health and wellness. So I was like, I want to get all the spouses together, come over. This is entirely free. There's no transactional, just
Oh,
love
that's
and energy.
awesome.
And we all, it was like, 15 of us, I think maybe 10, 15, anyway, but we all came together to like show up, work out. And I said, I want you to think of an intention, and whatever that intention is for the day, keep it in your heart, but know that you have 1% to challenge yourself. That's all we're asking is 1%. So I would come around and like tweak things here and there, and that'd be like, okay, ring that bell, 1%, we did it, we did it. Everybody reached their 1% today. And people were like,
It's so
yes, we're,
empowering. Like
yeah.
that's where we should come from, is that place of not just praise, but like curiosity and excitement. Like we've been taught as women to always come from a place of criticism. And not even just women, right? I think society as a whole, we critique first before we ever like raise people up. So I love that you're like, I'm going to give you that win immediately so that you believe in yourself because you deserve to.
Yeah, and just knowing that you can do the thing. I have children that come, and this is like fresh on air, that come, and we have a pack of children on our block, and they're knocking at the door for my children, but my
Oh
children
my
aren't
God.
here.
I
So
love
hold
it.
on one second. Hi, he's not here right now, but he's gonna come back in a little bit. Can I- where is he? He's at SAC. We'll be back. I'll let your mom know. Okay. This is live, y'all.
Oh my God. I love
This is
it.
live.
I love it. Is your house like the hangout house?
It's like in the middle.
Yeah.
So it's like there's literally a pack of boys, and my son folded into the pack like he had been here his whole life,
Oh.
which is amazing. And my daughter is like, like runs the roost. She's the youngest, she's also the smallest. She was 4 pounds, so check out this number. She was born 4'4", she was 4 pounds 14 ounces
Yeah.
on Easter. Both of my children were born on Easter, when doctors told me I would never be able to have children. So that's a whole other podcast in itself. I like when people tell me no, because then I tell them yes. Um,
Yeah. No, it's also like it's again, I think it's all energetic too.
yeah,
But
I
and
wasn't
that's
ready for
again a
it.
whole nother podcast. But
Yeah,
like,
yeah, we
yes.
would totally 100% vibe on that.
Yeah.
But Anyway, long story short, everybody kind of folded into each other. So people just when they come back, like my son and daughters have had been having withdrawals from the kids that have been on vacation. So they just came over here and they're like, "Where are they?" You know,
They want to play. But I
yeah,
know kids need that. Like we're at the end of a cul-de-sac. And so the kids always tend to come to our yard, but it's good. I want my kids outside. Like I don't want them in front of a screen.
my
And
milkshake brings all the people to the yard.
yes, yes. And I don't mind. My husband's like, I don't know that I want all the kids at our house. And I'm like, if they're outside, I'm like, I don't really care.
It's
Like,
okay. It's fine.
whatever.
That's good energy. When kids come to your house, it's really good energy.
Right.
When
And
kids
then I'm
like
like, well,
you,
then I
that's really
also
good
know what
energy.
they're doing, which is good, because like that's always a little, a little scary. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. And then like we live on base, so it's very, very safe and secure here. I mean, you always have to wonder, but like, I mean, when I came here too, this was the first time I've actually had like a big female presence that wants to see me like, or see each other rise, not just me, like see each other successful. And I had them over for like a preview TEDx and I did the speech for them. And yeah, I was like literally shaking. And I'm like, I've always had a fear of talking in front of people. And one of the girls looked at me, she's like, "You?" And I'm like, "Yeah, me. Yeah." Like leaf shaking, right? And and the first, like, part of it was a little bit rough, but you know what? We did it. We went through it and I asked for feedback and it was good, you know?
yay.
Um, but yeah, so okay, so we talked about centering nervous system. What was the next topic? I think it was a blueprint for feminine energy. Ah, love it.
You did
Okay.
that. I was
We
like, we
didn't, I
did.
don't think yeah, we
We
didn't.
started a little bit about like the cycle
Yeah.
and some of that,
I
but
want you to take this one home. So this is your lane. You got hype woman coming up. Go Victoria. It's your birthday. Talk about it.
I love it. No, this has changed the game for me, honestly, is realizing that as a woman, we are meant to move differently in the world in the sense that we are not on a 24-hour cycle the same way that men are. We actually are on a 28-day cycle with our menstrual cycle. And even if you're not menstruating anymore, you follow the cycles of the moon. And that actually is such a beautiful blueprint for how you can be a leader in your feminine flow. I time things based on my cycle and my energy so that I am maximizing my potential, but also maximizing the energy of myself. So I'm working with the energy instead of moving against it. We kind of were talking about that luteal phase earlier, right? That's not a time for you to be like planning outings with friends and maybe having board meetings or important things. That's a time when your inner critic is going to be loud. I like to try and not do any work when my bleed comes. That doesn't always happen, life's. But again, like, are you slowing down and letting that inner crone, that inner wise woman speak to you of what is the knowledge of the last 28 days of your cycle? What have you learned? What are you shedding? What are you moving through? Right. And then as you step into that inner spring, when you're starting to get into that follicular phase, that's when you want to do your tasks. That's when you want to plan all of the things. You want to make all of the phone calls. You want to run all of the errands. And when you're in your inner summer, when you're ovulating, I use that time for the most impact. Like maybe I'm taking a photo shoot while I'm ovulating. I actually gave my TEDx talk while I was ovulating, which was by complete coincidence. But anything that's going to be like outward facing in your life or in your business, or it's going to be a time to play when you're in that inner summer. And as a woman leader, to me, that is the energy of the matriarch. And that moves throughout your life, right? So being a leader to me isn't just a leader in the outside world, it's a leader in your own family. You are that one that is guiding the energy of everyone, and you need to rise into that energy. A matriarch, a feminine leader, does things differently. She doesn't do it from hustle. She doesn't do it from people pleasing. She doesn't do it for anyone else but herself. And so starting to tap into that energetic blueprint that you naturally have is going to be the first step, getting to know your own energy so then you can develop, or not even develop, uncover your own leadership style. And it's going to be very different than what society has told us. It's not going to be the picture perhaps that you have been sold, and that's okay. That's part of the energy of feminine, being feminine. It's that art of unwinding. It's the art of unbinding ourselves and undoing perhaps some of the energy and blocks that have been kind of passed on to us, I think. Because there's a different way to do it. I think we can lead from love, and we can lead from ease, and not from that like hustle and burnout and go go go. Like we need to be more in our receptive mode, and that actually allows us to do and to have and to be more.
I love that. And I love that you said how you take the step back to pause, because I think when I talk to so many of my clients, they always think that rest is a reward, when I'm like, no, it's the strategy.
You
That's
deserve
energy
it right now.
conservation. Yeah. If your body's saying I need to rest, that means your check engine light is on. Look under the hood. Burnout, I always say, is like running a marathon with no sneakers. By mile 5, your feet are bleeding. So, if we really want to be the best, we can't play our greatest hits all the time, even though we want to. Rest and recovery is part of this strategy so we can go long term, not be that big cannonball splash. And that's been really hard for me, because
Mhm.
I'm just like, go, keep pounding the pavement, go. Like, don't listen to your body. You can do it. Like, you just keep telling yourself, especially when I was like in competitive bodybuilding. Oh my gosh,
Oh
that was
my
a
God, I
totally,
yes.
yeah, that was a totally different world. But I needed to go through that to take away the nuggets of wisdom I learned in that journey, but also realize like it's not sustainable, and that's not something that I want to do to my body all the time. And it was like this thing I had to, it was just a shedding of another layer.
Yeah,
And also realizing that what you see here is not was not built in one day. It was a lot of unlearning and rewiring to understand where I am, and it's still happening. Like, that's the best
absolutely.
thing about growth, whether you want to think so or not. It's not linear. It changes all the time, and sometimes when you take those 3 steps back, nobody cares about why you fell. They care about how much you got back up,
Absolutely,
right?
because everyone's gonna fall. Everyone is gonna fall. It's going to happen. It is the cycle, right? Nature always is, again, like birthing and dying. It's
Yep.
natural, and I think we've run away from death, which again is probably a whole nother podcast. Like we're always wanting to, purify ourselves and stay the exact same age and not
Yeah.
change and not evolve, but it's in our nature to do so. And I think it's important to share here too that that change can also mean your beliefs, the way that you do things in the world. As a mom, especially, I remember my poor first son. I read all the books and I did all the things exactly as they said that you had to do it. And I was miserable and he,
Hmm.
hated it. And then my second child, I trusted myself more to be more intuitive, to realize that actually I know how to do this. I don't need everyone else's opinion around me. And that's what I think, I hope that any woman listening, any girls listening to come to, that like that's just the ultimate goal, is to know yourself so well and your energy so well that um you're at peace, because that's hard in today's world.
It's really hard, and it's hard to find, that energy and also that belief in yourself that you can do that, and you don't have to pound the pavement and do like the hard work will come, but you also can take care of yourself, right? And I said it today too, and I say it probably every podcast that I'm on, the old saying of you can't help others unless you put on your own oxygen mask first. And I was so judgy as a mom, like, oh my gosh, you would do that, but girl, if you're dead, you're not helping anybody, right?
No, no.
And,
And I'm sorry, like I'm gonna yell more. I'm gonna like all the things. That's what I say to everyone as a mom. It's not selfish, actually. That selfish is a
you got
good
to take care
thing.
of
You
yourself.
need
Yeah.
to be,
I go,
truly.
I need to move my body every day. I need to nourish my body. I need to make sure I get enough sleep. I need to know that my feet are touching the ground in some way without shoes. I need the sunlight. And there are also things that are free, right?
Yes.
Besides the food, but nourishing your body, your soul. I've recently added everyday prayer. I run in prayer. And that's how, like, I called it my Jesus runs. I started doing it in January, and it was the best thing I've ever done. And I did it. I did something hard that I feared with God, and that was just such a powerful breakthrough for me personally. And I think that whatever, like I said, whatever you believe in, that faith is just so strong. And it's something that our brain tells us not to believe in because we can't touch it, we can't see it. It's something that we have to create that's within us, but has created us. And then we get to pass that along, right? And I think that that's like, it's just, and who cares if it took you 44 years to get here? You're
Right?
here, right?
Exactly. Because it's a
So,
relationship. You have to cultivate it. I think when I'm speaking to some of my students that are like newer to kind of spirituality or connection, or even just listening to that little voice, that little girl within them,
mhm,
they have to know it takes time, and that it's going to grow over time, because it's a relationship, and you're going to learn how it speaks to you. That was really revelatory to me, was to realize that my intuition spoke to me differently than like it did to my mom, for example. It speaks to you through your senses, but find out which sense it speaks to you the loudest, right? And then begin to cultivate that, because I think the trust comes over time when you start to listen, and then you're affirmed. And
mhm.
sometimes, again, manifesting or change, prayer can take a while. And especially if you're not seeing it reflected in your outside world, it can be hard to have that faith. But I think if you can start to listen to the little steps, the little breadcrumbs, the little 1%, then
Yep.
that's how you build that trust. That's how you start to stop having to ask for a signee or sign, even though I still do sometimes. I'm like, okay, universe, show me a sign. I'm like, no, I
I
don't
think
believe
it's human
that.
nature, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And then sometimes you don't see the signs. Like I have had really, I mean, my life has been very through extremes, right? And it was very hard for me. And people are like, well, find the green. I go, what is it like being green? Can you explain this to me? Because I'm not gathering what the green is. Red, I know red really well. Green, I don't know. So, and I remember too, like when I was 10 years old, I almost drowned, right? I got taken out by undertow. I remember the water coming over me, and I remember praying to God and feeling really peaceful, knowing that this could be what was going to happen. And my dad saved me after the next wave. Right. The next one I had, I was 19 years old and I had an 8-year battle with anorexia. I was 78 pounds. I punished my body through and through, and I had to really heal myself with that. I was tube fed. Doctor said, hey, you're going to be a statistic. 1 in 10 people with anorexia die. And I had to figure out the key to healing was inside me. Right. That took time. Then at 22 years old, I was driving home from work. I was, doing bottle service in the city, going to school. And then I fell asleep at the wheel, like a block before my house, and I hit the tree. Didn't even know. I walked away with a scratched cornea and a bruised chest.
Sorry. Okay.
Y-
See, I
Yes.
also fell asleep at the wheel and
Yeah.
walked away with only a scratch on my hand.
And they said if you were 2 inches to the right, the engine would have been in your face. So I
You're
knew it
protected. You
as
have so many ancestors and guides and angels. Like,
so many, and I'm just like, I don't understand. And I was like, this didn't happen because I was lucky. It didn't happen because I was strong. It said because God was not done with me yet. And because I'm living here talking about it and breathing, I'm still purpose in this life to share.
yes.
And if it's testimony after testimony, I will keep sharing. And
Yeah.
you believe what you want to believe, but I know that there's more to it to share.
Yeah.
And it
And
goes beyond you.
oh, absolutely. And again, I think that fullest expression, your purpose is being 100% yourself. And so you sharing and being an embodied, like living, breathing, walking embodiment of that energy is enough to change people, is enough to shift people.
Yeah.
I've been working with that mantra that like I allow others the supreme pleasure of giving to me. And I
Ooh,
also
that's
have
a
been
good
using,
place to be in.
right? I've been using that mantra, and I've been using I get paid just to be myself.
Ooh, I like that
Like,
one too.
I get paid just being me, or I'm abundant being me, whatever you want to say. But
Yeah.
like for me, it's a monetary thing to say like just being myself is going to bring in the money. And it's shifted things for me to realize that I don't have to do in the way that women, I don't know, we're taught, that really like we are worthy exactly as we are, and we are not broken. We are just unveiling parts of ourselves because so much has been projected and put upon us, or we've
Mhm.
experienced traumas that cause deep wounding that we then have to work through. Um, but you can only experience that here on earth right now in like your earth meat suit, in this human
Yeah.
body. And kind of coming back to that, like we all want to escape that pain. It's
Sometimes you got to
why
sit
we're
with it.
here. It's why we're
Yeah,
here. You have to sit with it. You have to move through it. And when I say move through, it's just being with those energy and with those emotions so that it doesn't stay with you. It doesn't stick with you
as
because
it's the
it's
words of
going to.
Elsa, let it go.
Yes.
My daughter loves Elsa. So, okay. This is amazing podcast, and we've been talking for literally almost an hour so far. So here we're gonna go. This, I mean, we went through the whole thing. We didn't even cover. We covered the topics. We don't even know any topics. That this is so cool. Like this was energetic meets energetic, and it was flowed, which is I'm so thankful for. Where can we find you? What social handles do you have? What are you launching? I know you mentioned the retreat, but tell us all the things. Take the floor.
Yeah. So Victoria Margaux, Margaux, as you see on the screen, Nielsen is my Instagram. My website is victoriamargaux.com. I am currently looking for a couple of one-on-one clients. So if you're wanting to dive deeper into a transformative journey for 4 months, maybe you're in the middle of transition, you're in kind of that fertile void, you're not sure of your next step, I would love to help you. I also have that Art of Unwinding retreat with my Monarch Mystery School in November. We'll be in Tucson. We also have more retreats through Monarch Mystery School into 2026. That is my feminine school to help you just come back to yourself and your energy. We do a lot of teachings with the goddesses and also just with the mother, the maiden, and the crone, kind of coming back to that 28-day cycle as a woman.
Mhm.
I also, hopefully I'm going to have another TEDx talk soon. I've applied. I'm just going to put it out in the universe as if it's happening. And you can also find some of my confidence coaching, website design, and podcast production help at magentaheartproductions.com. I think that's all the things. I also have,
Love it.
I have an Oracle deck. If anyone, Spirit Mama's Oracle, it's 44 cards, divinely channeled guidance, not just for moms, but anyone that's mothering something in the world. And yeah, I think that's it.
Oh, so that's your own deck that you have that's like
Yes,
branded for you?
yes, that we
So
created,
cool.
designed, beautiful, like gold foil. And the cards are just like exquisite. So this one's greater
Oh, wow.
intuition. And Oracle
Yeah.
decks, for those that don't like work with them, to me, it's a beautiful tool to use if you're on the beginning of that spiritual journey and you're not really trusting perhaps like your inner guidance. You can ask and then pull a card. So like this one's for your crown chakra. And it's a great way to just, yeah, start to connect and start to maybe listen to those beautiful messages that you're a divine vessel.
I love that. So I love that you brought up Connect because this is the Connector's Pulse, and you are the second to last episode I have. So this has been
Woo!
such an incredible journey, and one I did not expect. It turned into let's do a few podcasts, and then I'm doing 3 a week because it filled up so fast. So and it's cool because I get to like meet women like you, and we get to just connect, and also I get to help people feel good, feel strong, and like promote their service, their gift for the world. So I appreciate you so much for coming and joining, and I know we'll be in contact. So thank you so much for this. Thank you everyone for joining,
Thank you.
and we have one more episode left. So it will be next Wednesday or next Friday. No, it's in the end of October. Anyway, we'll get to you. Um, so thank you so much for joining. It's been such a treat. And I hope everybody has a great and happy Wednesday. Bye.